Over the last year, I don't think there is another golf shoe brand that has made more of a splash than Payntr. All of a sudden, it seemed like overnight I was seeing Payntr shoes everywhere, and the people that were wearing them absolutely love them. But Payntr can be a little bit confusing if you're not familiar with the brand. I kind of look at it as though there are two eras of Payntr. There is the pre-87SC and there is the post-87SC, and understanding what the differences in those two eras are, as well as some of the shoes that fit into those two eras, is a little bit important. Because if you are in the market for Payntr shoes, the reality is a lot of the models look very similar. So you might be looking, okay, I want a pair of Payntrs, and I saw these shoes on some other guy at the club, but there's like 7 pairs that all look kind of similar. So today's video is all about helping you figure out which Payntr shoes are right for you. And in this video, I'm also going to give a review of my current favorite pair of Payntr shoes. So if you want to learn a little bit more about some of the coolest and best golf shoes in the entire game, keep watching. Today's video is for you. Okay, so first up, why has Payntr become a big deal? Well, when Payntr started roughly 5 years ago, their goal was performance first. They are some of the most technical shoes in the game. And when I was playing golf with Mike Forsey, the founder, a few years ago, he told me, he's like, function first, fashion second. He's like, I want to make golf shoes that legitimately help people play better golf. And if we can make them look good in the process, awesome. But the primary goal is to be some of the most technologically innovative and functional golf shoes on the market. And that is exactly what they created. Now, for the first few years of the brand, we saw models like the X001, the X002, 003, 004, all the way up to 006. And all of these shoes were very functional. Like if you look at the sales page for any one of those shoes, you're like, wow, that sounds like a lot of stuff you built in these shoes. And it was all with the goal of helping you play better golf. All about getting 1, 2, 3% performance increases, which have a big effect over the course of 18 holes. Now, as part of this, what you might notice if you look at that original line of Payntr shoes is they all look relatively similar. Each one was different and they all served a slightly different purpose, but the general silhouette of the shoe was all very similar. And my thought process on why they did that is, as a new company, you're like, cool, we're focused on performance, so let's spend our money there, let's spend our time and attention there. And if we can design shoes that are 80, 90% similar, we can reduce our design costs while still making a name for ourselves in the market. So these earlier models, I don't think any of them were bad looking shoes. Like they looked pretty good, but they also just looked like performance golf shoes. The most recent version of that old style is this. This is the Tour Proto. So this is a $220 shoe, and I feel like this is the culmination of that kind of like early era of Payntr shoes. You've got the premium leather upper, it's all completely waterproof, you have the Tour Flex Pro spikes, you have the nitrogen footbed, which is what they are known for. And just to give you a quick idea of what the nitrogen footbed does, because this is one of the hallmarks of most Payntr shoes, is it captures that energy when you walk down, and it almost works like a little bit of a trampoline when you step up. So it's not something you necessarily notice with every single step you take, but over the course of 10, 12, 15,000 steps over the course of a round of golf, each little rebound is helping your body feel that much less fatigued. Not to mention the benefits when you're swinging a golf club. So you load the weight down, and when you push up, it's helping with a little bit more of an explosive effect, theoretically helping you hit better drives and better shots. One of the most notable things about this specific shoe, the Tour Proto RS, is that Justin Rose was wearing these when he won the 2025 FedEx St. Jude Classic. What's interesting about that is he wasn't sponsored by Payntr. These are just the shoes he chose to wear, and I believe that was the first PGA Tour win for the brand. So like I said, this is kind of the newest, most current iteration of that old model. You can find basically all the tech that Payntr has packed into this shoe, and it's a fantastic golf shoe, but the aesthetics, may or may not be for you. So that's what I would call the first era of Payntr shoes. Well, the second and current era of Payntr shoes started at the end of 2024 with the release of these. These are the 87SC shoes that they made in collaboration with Jason Day. Jason Day was born in 1987, hence where 87 in the name came from. And this is the shoe that I was waiting for from Payntr. You take all the same tech, everything you know about building a great golf shoe, and not only do you put that in a shoe, but you put it in a shoe that looks beautiful. Anytime I see someone wearing the new era of Payntr shoes on a golf course, pretty much regardless of which model it is, you just kind of have to look at it and say, man, that's a good looking golf shoe. And this specific shoe has been out for almost 2 years now, and I still get that feeling to this day. Just this past Sunday, I was at my club and I was playing with someone new who had these on. look really similar. These are actually not the 87SC, these are the Match Days, which are the spikeless version of the 87SC. So if you're watching this video and you're thinking about Payntr, chances are these are the shoes that you are familiar with, or one of the new kind of second era iterations of Payntr shoes. Now, what I found is that they're kind of sticking to the same model. They have basically said, okay, we're gonna make some slight adjustments in aesthetics, and we're gonna make some slight adjustments in features, but we're not gonna go full send, super wide with a whole bunch of dramatically different models. So many of the new models that we're seeing from Payntr, they look like derivatives of each other, but I don't think that is necessarily a bad thing. Because like I said, I think this is certainly like top 3 in the running for most beautiful modern golf shoe. Like, I just think these look really good, and I think every other version of that shoe looks really good. And to be clear, there are now a lot of versions of it. And this is where you might run into issues. You might see some of those shoes out on the course, be like, Payntr, those look great, I want to get a pair of those. And then you go to their website and you're like, huh, a lot of these look really similar. And you will see that across a number of their styles. They'll have one shoe and they'll have a spikeless version and a spiked version, but they're gonna have different names, so it gets a little confusing like that. Hey, just a quick heads up, if you use the code breakingeighty, you will save 10% on any of these Payntr shoes. So if you decide one's right for you, save a little money, support the channel, and go use that code, and yeah, back to the video. But right now, my current favorite model, and I have worn these for every round over the last 6 rounds I've played. They have just become my go-to because they're wonderfully comfortable, they look really good, they go with just about everything, and they're $40 cheaper than the flagship 87SC. And that is these. These are the Reserve Classic Tour RS. And you look at these, and they are, I mean, they're really similar. Like, one's got brown trim on the side, one's got black. They have the same Tour Flex Pro spikes. One's got a dark sole, one's got a light sole. But even the style of the venting across the leather looks really, really similar. So unless you're looking really closely, you're probably not going to be able to tell much of a difference between these shoes. Yet the 87SC, $40 more than this one, the Reserve Classic Tour RS. And aside from some minor things and some styling changes, kind of 2 main differences that stand out in my mind. One is the 87SC uses a Carbitex carbon fiber plate in the footbed. It helps add support and strength while also maintaining its flexibility. And the reality is, while I'm sure that that carbon fiber plate is technically superior, the speed plate that is in the Reserve Tours is going to be just fine. You're not really going to notice a major difference. The other major difference that I've seen comes back to that nitrogen footbed. In the cheaper model, you just get that nitrogen in the footbed itself, whereas with the 87SC, you get it both in the footbed as well as the midsole. So you're getting more of that PMX nitrogen plus, that's what they call it. You're getting more of that in the shoe that's going to help amplify those benefits that we talked about earlier. And there's a few other minor design tweaks, like it's a slightly different tongue and a few other things, but I've played over a dozen rounds with both of these shoes, and honestly, I can't really tell a performance difference. I think it comes down to which style do you like more. If you want the extra performance and you don't care about the extra $40, absolutely go with this. But these Reserve Classic Tour RS, these are the ones that have been speaking to me lately and really just what I've been wearing. Like I said, my last 4 to 6 rounds have all been this shoe. This is just what I've been gravitating towards lately. And so going back to what Payntr has done in the past, where they're not completely redesigning things, but they're tweaking the performance for different people and different needs and different price points. So this is the Reserve Classic Tour RS, which is kind of the pinnacle of this Reserve Classic line. But you can also drop down to the Reserve Classic RS. It's a shoe that still mostly looks the same, but it removes an extra waterproof coating. It doesn't have that PMX Nitrogen Plus footbed that we talked about, and a couple other more technical features, but it comes in at only $150. But then for $10 less than that, you can essentially get the spikeless version of that same shoe. So you start to see how this ladder works. You've got the 87SC up here, which has all the tech. Then you move down to the Reserve Classic Tour that's got most of the tech. Then you move down to the Reserve Classic that has some of the tech. But what I love about this is that the most expensive shoe they have right now is $220. If you're looking at a brand like G4 or Echo, most of their shoes start at $225. So the fact you can get their top of the line shoe for $220 all the way down to shoes in the $140 range that still look the same and perform really, really well, I think that's something that Payntr is doing really, really well. It's appealing to a wide variety of golfers at different price points, and the products, like I said, every product that comes out just feels like it keeps getting better and better. So which Payntr shoe should you buy? So I'm not gonna get into all the minutia of all the different brands. We've already done enough of that. Basically, what I would say is go find the style that you like the look of and buy that. it is probably going to be just fine. You might look and see that there might be a model above that or below that that changes the technical specs a little bit, but in the real world, as an average person, in my experience, you're not going to notice that much of a difference between the technicalities of the shoe. So if you would rather pay a little bit less and forgo, say, the carbon fiber foot plate, you're probably going to be just fine. You don't necessarily need to spend that much money unless you want to. One other thing I do want to mention is these. These are the X001 Training shoes, and you can see mine are pretty dirty. This is like an early model. They've changed the material a little bit, but I have loved these shoes. Wearing them around town, traveling, wearing to the gym, whatever it is, these have been awesome. Same nitrogen footbed, so it's helping you when you're going for a run or things like that. But that's one of those things most people, I don't think, realize that they do make a training shoe, but they are awesome. So hopefully this video helps shed a little bit of light on just what Payntr is and where it's going. There are still all sorts of models that kind of conflict with each other. Payntr is also doing a whole lot of collabs right now. We've seen ones from Jones, we've seen ones from Vessel that are all kind of derivative of this. The Reserve Classic. You know, not the same, but they all look fairly similar. Like I said, the design language doesn't differ that much between all the newest models, assuming you're staying in kind of that second generation of Payntr shoes. But if you're a fan of some of those other brands and you want something a little more limited edition, I would go check those out. The last collab I'm going to mention, because this is one of my favorite shoes I reviewed all year, and that's the Foresters and Payntr collaboration. These shoes definitely share some of the same DNA as the 87 SC, but they've got a waterproof shroud across the top. These are built for inclement weather. So if you're someone who plays half your season in the rain, or you're going to Bandon Dunes in the off season and you need a bulletproof shoe that's going to look good, feel good, and withstand some of those weather conditions, definitely check that out. I hope that even though this was kind of a limited edition collaboration, I hope that they're going to continue to sell it because it is an excellent shoe. With that, if Payntr is not the right shoe for you, you can go check out my list of the best golf shoes that are currently on the market. We've got something for every different price point, every different need, every different style. I will link to that below. And if you do decide Payntr is right for you, you can use the coupon code breakingeighty with 80 all spelt out. That's going to save you 10% on any of the models we talked about. So some of these already really affordable. You can use the code and make it even more affordable. As you might expect, if you use that code or you click the links below, I might get a commission for that. If you think that makes me too biased, totally understand. Go do all your own research. There are plenty of other reviews about these shoes out there. But if you did find this useful and you do decide to buy the shoes, doing that helps support the channel, and it's what allows me to make videos like this for you. So with that, I hope you have an excellent day, and I can't wait to see you on the next video. Peace.